In 2020, more than 87 Japanese companies decided to move out of China because Japan did not want them there anymore and because China is unreliable and bad for business despite popular beliefs. The only incentive for companies to work in China is cheap labor, but even that is not attractive enough if China's Communist Party authorities pick fights with home countries, bully companies, and jeopardize supply chains with COVID lockdowns and power blackouts. This is why the latest shock to China is coming from South Korea, which has passed the verdict against Beijing. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Shubhangi, and in this video I will tell you how a South Korean shipbuilding giant Samsung has shifted out of China. Let's begin. The exodus of major companies and investors out of China was already concerning enough, but now the South Korean shipbuilding giant Samsung has also decided to close its factory and move out. After allegedly agreeing to hand over its land to the local government for industrial renewal, South Korean shipbuilding giant Samsung Heavy Industries or SHI recently announced the closure of its plant Ningbo in the eastern Chinese province of Zhejiang, sparking days of protests by laid-off workers seeking better severance pay. The Ningbo plant, which opened in 1995, specializes in the production of ship blocks with iron structures as well as shipbuilding for both international and domestic markets. Each year, it produces and supplies about 200,000 tons of shipbuilding blocks. Workers protested Samsung Heavy Industries' sudden closure of its 26-year-old Ningbo shipyard in China, demanding more compensation as the South Korean business exits a low-profit operation. However, one can easily understand the problem is with the Chinese Communist Party's cumulative policies and actions in the past couple of years. The announcement comes as Asia's shipbuilding industry, Samsung Heavy Industries, undergoes a major transformation. South Korea's government has been laying out measures to resurrect the country's shipbuilding and shipping industry since 2019. It pushed for a combination of Hyundai Heavy Industries and Daewoo Shipbuilding, resulting in the world's largest shipyard. According to maritime services provider Clarksons PLC's assessment on the global shipping market, South Korea is on course to overtake China in shipbuilding orders in the second half of this year. Simultaneously, Beijing is pursuing plans to consolidate the country's overburdened state-owned industry in order to reduce debt and boost global competitiveness. Under a restructuring plan approved by the State Council, China's State Shipbuilding Corporation and China Shipbuilding Industry Corporation, the country's two largest state-owned shipbuilding conglomerates, would merge to establish China Shipping Group. In such a situation, South Korea does not want to maximize its losses so that China can maximize profit, as it seems to be a very foolish proposition. A recent poll revealed a significant shift in China's public image of neighboring countries in South Korea, which could influence presidential contenders' foreign policy objectives. According to a poll conducted by Hankook Research and the South Korean online publication Sisen, the South Korean people have the lowest opinion of China, with only North Korea and Japan rated higher. While the Moon Jae-in government maintained the policy of strategic ambiguity in its relationship with US and China, on the other hand, the conservative camp, which is in a more favorable position to win, has been critical of China and the North Korean regime. As per analysts, 4 key incidents have fueled anti-China sentiments in South Korea. The THAAD deployment in 2017, Beijing's response to Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement in 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020, and China's attempts at cultural imperialism in late 2020. In addition to this, Koreans have also reacted decisively against the attempt of the Chinese Communist Party to showcase China's cultural supremacy, as well as claiming some of the cultural symbols of Korea. The current young generation hates China more than even Japan. They are not anachronistic, and the South Korean youngsters realize that China is the main hegemonic power that they must fight. They also hate Beijing's cultural imperialism and want to snap all ties with the authoritarian nation. As the elections are just a year to go, The opposition, which is looking strong, has worked well to address the concerns of the youngsters. In such a situation, the moving out of a shipbuilding giant out of China is only obvious.